Hello everyone, welcome to ACE Online and welcome to the budget session of 2024, right. So earlier the government has presented the budget in February, 1st February, that is a partial or interim budget, right. Because of the election year they have only provided the short term budget, right. Now we got the full budget yesterday, right. So for next 1 year we will see in a very detailed manner all the documents released by the government. We have summarized for you, right. I promise that if you are being patient and then if you listen to all the class, so you will get lot of facts, you will get lot of concepts and you can answer the budget related questions in any of the exam, I promise that, right. So we will see yesterday also we have discussed the basics of the budget, like what is the revenue account, what is receipts, right, what is capital account, what is the capital expenditure and capital receipt. So we have discussed in the current affairs session the first article itself, the budget. You need to have a clear basic idea because you will understand this a very clear manner. Even though if you did not watch, we will try to define those terms, while discussing these numbers, right. So this budget objective, before that I just want a confirmation from you all whether my video and audio is clear. Very good evening Mahendra, welcome to the session. I hope my audio as well as video is clear. Fine. So let's move ahead. If you have any doubts, please be very free to ask the questions. No need to worry about what other things or what myself will think. I will be very happy to answer your very basic questions also. So no need to worry, you can ask any questions if you have any doubts while we are discussing, right. Now budget we have discussed yesterday, that is the estimation of the government expenditure as well as revenue in that one particular year and how the government is going to tell us how the budget or the whatever the funds that are available will be doing expenditure in the next 1 year, right. Now the objective of this year budget, the 2024 budget, the objective is to make India a developed nation by 2047, right. So currently there are a lot of developed countries like USA, Europe, in Europe also we have a number of developed countries, but India has been still considered as a developing nation, right. Even though we got independence more than 70-75 years, but still India is considered as a developing nation and there is a lot of challenges including poverty, gender inequality, health, right. So to achieve this developed nation we need to cover all these things, we need to develop in all the indices. So with this objective, that is a developed nation, it is called as a Vikshit Bharat, right. So the aim of this budget is to make India a developed nation by 2047. Next year also of course the same theme will remain because the developing or developed status is targeted for 2047. So in the next coming years also the target will be to make India a developed nation. So that is the objective. Now in this budget government has kept the target to achieve the developed nation, but how can we do that or how can government does this? So to achieve the target this year the government is going to focus on 4 areas, will tell you what is those and all, 4 focused areas and then 4 themes government has kept itself, right. So government has kept 4 themes for it and then 9 priority areas, 9 priority areas to achieve these 4 goals or 4 focus areas and 4 themes, right. So in this budget, before going I want to tell you what we are going to discuss in this whole session, right. So that you will be clear with what we are discussing. First we will see what are the 4 focused areas, we will see, right, and then 4 themes that government has kept itself and then a very in detail the 9 priority areas. Here the government has discussed a very detailed manner yesterday, Sita Raman, right. So she has discussed in a detailed manner. So this 4 focused areas and 4 themes government is going to achieve through 9 priority areas. In this each priority there will be agriculture, there will be education, there will be skill development, there will be MSME, right. So 9 priorities areas what government has allocated in each of the priority area, that is very important for us. For your exams also you need to know what those 9 priority areas, in each priority what government has allocated for, right. So this is a very important one. This will be a occupying at least 50 to 60% of our discussion will be on 9 priority areas. But that does not end here, we need to know more details also. We will have the budget numbers. After 9 priority areas, we will see the budget numbers. I will define for you the basic definitions also, like fiscal deficit, revenue deficit, what it is and what is the target, what we have achieved. There is lot of numbers, right. The total budget amount, what is the revenue budget, what is the capital budget. We will see the basic definitions and also the numbers, which is very important for our exam, right. So these we are going to discuss. This will take around you can expect like 45 minutes to 50 minutes, and then budget numbers will take around 20 to 25 minutes, and these are just a couple of minutes for each, right. So you can expect a little bit lengthy session. Be patient, I promise you that you will really benefit from the session if you go through this in a clear manner, right. Yeah, very good evening Keshav. Let's start with the budget, right. As I said, the government has decided to focus on 4 main groups or 4 main areas, right. So which sections of society we are going to focus on to make India a developed nation, right. So those are 4. You can see here, this is directly taken from the budget document itself, that is poor people. Government is going to focus on poor people. Next, government is going to focus on women development, women empowerment, right, and then government is going to focus on youth, right, which is having a high demographic dividend. Almost 28 to 30% of our total population belongs to the youth, right, and then finally farmers. So these are the 4 groups. Government termed it as a 4 castes. So there is no caste as such, but these 4 groups itself becomes a caste here, right. So that's what the government intention is. We are going to focus on these 4 groups. So this is the focus, 4 major groups which government is going to focus. Now whatever government is going to do will be focusing on these 4 themes. Whatever the budget allocation, whatever the initiative schemes, all these things will be surrounding around these 4 themes. First one is about employment, creating employment. You all are preparing for these exams just because to get employment. So you all know how the employment is very important for our economy, right. So government has given this as a first priority, that we are going to create employment. We will see how they are going to plan. Next one, they want to skill up. As the new technologies are coming and the old skills are getting redundant, government is going to enrich the skill development through the new initiatives and all, right. So government has already done lot of skill development through Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana and many more schemes, right. But still the government has come up with a new scheme for skill development, right. We will see that as well. Then micro, small and medium enterprises. The most important for the current economic situation in India is the job givers, not the job seekers, right. So if someone is going to start some business, government is going to encourage them as a lot, right, because they are the job givers, they are reducing the unemployment. For that purpose, government is going to focus on the small and medium scale industries, right. So this is the third theme. Next one, of course, the growing middle class. Now the poverty has reduced drastically when you compare in the last 2 decades and the current situation of India. The poverty, the lower economic class has reduced and they have moved up in the ladder to the middle class, right. So now we are accumulating, the rich people are very less and then poor people also is getting reduced. Now this whole middle strata is going to play a huge role. That's why government is aiming to develop the middle class as well, right. So these are the 4 themes which government has kept, right. I hope this is clear, you are following it, and please be respond like whenever there is a questions and all, so that it motivates the faculty to give more efforts, right. So please do respond when there is some questions, even though it is not correct, it is fine, but just do respond, right. So these are the 4 themes and 4 focus areas which government is going to allocate, and this 4 groups as well as 4 themes government is going to implement through 9 priorities. Here we will get lot of data, lot of schemes and all, right. So now let us see what are the 9 priority areas. You need to remember these 4 focus groups as well as 4 themes also. In exam they may directly ask you which one is not one of the following theme or one of the following groups that government has focused in this year budget, right. So whatever the exams you are going to write, you will have a lot of questions on it. These are the 9 budget priorities under developed India objective, right. So government is going to allocate all the funds of this year budget under these 9 priority areas. First one, productivity and resilience in agriculture. So this is part of agriculture and you can interlink it to the employment as well as the farmers. So all these 9 can be interlinked to all these 4 themes and 4 groups, right. So now the agriculture is going to play a huge role, as number of people are still 45% of employees are occupied in the agriculture sector, right. Agriculture is providing 45% employment for total, right, out of the 100%. Service sector, all those things play a less role in terms of employment, even though they are contributing more for GDP, right. So this is the first focus area about agriculture, resilient and productivity. Next one, employment and skilling is the second priority of government of India, right, under this budget. Next one, inclusive human resources development and social justice. So this is a little bit a socio-economic thing. That means all the people has to equally develop. They are aiming to push the lower class people, low strata people, right, who are poor and all. Next one, manufacturing and service. So this is also core part of economy, manufacturing as well as service sector. Government is going to focus on this as a 4th priority. Then urban development. You all know, because of environment, because of a growing population, it is a very challenging for the people who to stay in urban areas in a long term manner. So to make it more sustainable, government has taken this as a 5th priority. And sixth one is about energy security. So we are shifting from fossil fuel like thermal plants towards solar energy, hydrogen, green hydrogen energy and many more renewable energy. So we will see what government has kept under the energy security. This is the 6th theme. And the 7th theme is infrastructure. Infrastructure is any physical form which can contribute for the working nature of the economy, right. So this infrastructure is again 7th theme. And then innovation, research and development, right, innovation, research and development, right. So this is the 8th theme. You all know that India, even though has a huge number of population, but most of the technology, most of the inventions are not coming from India. It is coming either from western countries like USA, Germany, France and all, and also China is also competing with the European countries in terms of the innovation and all. They are creating new things, competing with the large or developed countries, but India is still lagging in innovation, research and development, right. So that's why government want to push the patent filing, the new researches and all through this 8th theme. And finally, next generation reforms. So the advanced ones in the next coming generations, whatever the requirements are useful, so these things is going to be kept under the 9th theme, right. Very good evening to Santosh and Malini as well. Now let us take one by one. We will take first priority, then we will discuss second priority, then third priority, fourth priority. So we will discuss all the 9 priorities, and under each of the priority, government has allocated certain funds, and there are a lot of other initiatives. There are old initiatives also which government has allocated the funds. So all these things we will take one by one, fine. Now first theme, that is productivity and resilient agriculture. Resilient here means resistance against the climate change and all. Because of the changes that is happening in environment, agriculture productivity is decreasing. So to enhance agriculture productivity, the first goal, right. For this, government has allocated specifically 1.52 lakh crore. Before that, I want to tell you what is the total GDP of our country. Approximately 326 lakh crores. 326 lakh crores of our GDP. That means in 1 year we are producing this much in our Indian economy. Have an idea over it. See, don't mug up the facts, always link it in the logical manner. You will be able to remember for a longer period. So this is our total GDP production approximately, and then our total budget allocation is 48 lakh crores approximately. We will see in the specific number. So this is the budget of our this current year budget. This is the total GDP, and all the GDP will not go for the government, of course, right. It can go to the lot of private individuals, private companies and all. That's why this two will not be equal, it is just a small portion. Whatever the funds government will get, a small portion of it, right. Now for this agriculture purposes, government has allocated 1.52 lakh crore. Out of this total budget, government has allocated 1.52 lakh crores for agriculture and allied sector, right. So this is just a fund allocation. Now also one more important thing government is focusing is on 109 high yielding and climate resilient varieties, right, of 32 field and horticulture crops government is going to be released, because whatever the varieties that we are using now or producing now in terms of seeds, crops and all, they are already been pest oriented, I mean in the sense that pests can understand and they are resilient to these crops. That is why if government comes up with the new seeds, the productivity will increase, right, and the pest attack will also be reduced because these are new, right. So that is why government is aiming to bring 109 new high yielding and climate resilient varieties of 32 field and horticulture crops. That means one rice crop, right, can have 3-4 varieties, that is why it is a 109. So out of these 32 crops there will be 2-3 varieties for each crop, that is why there is a number 109, right. I hope this is clear, fine. Now that is the objective. Now government is also aiming for Atmanirbhar Bharat, that means self dependent, we should not depend on other countries, right. For oil seeds such as mustard, groundnut, sesame, soya bean, sunflower, these are all the oil crops which we have depended on many countries. We are importing a lot. As we are importing a lot, we are losing our money to other countries. That is why government want to promote the Atmanirbhar Bharat, that means within India we want to cultivate them and then we need to reduce the dependency on the foreign countries, right. So this is the Atmanirbhar Bharat for agriculture. This we have already discussed, release of new varieties, this we have already discussed. Then vegetable production and supply chain, you know that farmers are they are having very small land, right, and they are having very small funds. So for this purpose government want to encourage cooperative sector as well as farmer producer organization. Here all the farmers will pool the fund, like each one having for example 50,000. So everyone will come up with a 50,000 pooling and it will become a crore, and this will be invested in the agriculture, and whatever the profits they get they can share. So it is actually to promote the economies of scale and increase the profit of the farmers. So these two schemes are similar in such manner. Then transforming agriculture research. So in agriculture we want a new agriculture type of varieties of seeds or new types of pesticides, all those things. For that the government is going to take the agriculture research within India, right. So these are all the some of the focused areas from the agriculture. I hope you are following. Yes Santosh, Atmanirbhar includes sovereignty or the self dependent, that means we should not depend on other countries, that is the meaning in English, right. Now continuing with agriculture itself, we have seen the first, we are discussing the first priority, right. Under that we have seen few initiatives, still there are few more initiatives for agriculture. 1 crore farmers across the country will be trained in natural farming. We are using lot of pesticides, fertilizers, but that is having a effect on climate change. For example, the rice fields are major contribute for the methane emission because we are using lot of fertilizers, artificially made fertilizers, pesticides. Now government want to encourage natural farming. Natural farming is the one which is used through natural fertilizers like manure, cow dung, fine, without any artificial or synthetic fertilizers or pesticides, fine. So for that purpose government is going to train 1 crore farmers. This number is important, you have to remember this, right. Similarly, this they are going to be certified within the next 2 years. So the whatever the skills that they have developed or whatever the crops that they are going to generate through natural farming, so it is going to in the next 2 years they are going to develop the branding of those things, right. Next one, 10,000 need based bio input resource centers. We have seen that government want to promote the natural farming, but for that purpose they need to have natural inputs without any synthetic fertilizer, artificial fertilizers. For that purpose they are going to initiate bio input resource centers. These are like a small labs or nurseries where they can get the natural inputs, natural fertilizers and all. So 10,000 centers across India they are going to develop. Farmers can reach out to those centers and they can get the organic inputs, right. So this is the second, connected to this point only. Next one, digital public infrastructure. Digital public infrastructure means whatever the infrastructure in a digital manner that benefits the society as a together rather than individual. Let's take example of Aadhaar. Aadhaar number is a, like everyone will be benefit from it. The beneficiaries can be directly get the money from the government, right? Or internet, you can say basic internet is also digital public infrastructure where everyone can use, right? So government is going to promote this for agriculture, like they are going to get the weather forecasting. For example, when the rains they are getting, they will be clearly seen from the digital websites, so it will benefit all the farmers. So such type of things they are going to expand in the next 3 years. So that is one initiative, right? So this we have already discussed. Government is also aiming to promote shrimp production and export. So this is agriculture and allied sector, that means not just crops, but they are also going to develop the livestock, fisheries, all these things. Under this they are going to finance the shrimp farming, processing and export through NABARD. So government is going to encourage the business to do more in the shrimp production and export, so that we will get the foreign exchange, also create lot of employment. Under this same digital public infrastructure, they are going to take it for 3 years. We have already seen they are going to cover all the farmers in the 3 years. Digital crop surveys in the 400 districts, a very important fact here to be remembered. Digital crop survey means all the crops in India, they will be analyzed through GIS, GPS, all those things, and they will know what type of land is existing and what type of crop can be cultivated and what are the challenges in cultivating those local crops. So all the details related to the crops will be covered in this survey and it will be kept in a digital database, so anyone can see it. So this is going to be done through 400 districts. Next one, issuance of Jan Samarth based Kisan credit cards. So Kisan credit cards are those cards which farmers can directly take money. It's like ATM cards. They can go to the ATM and then they can take the money. Whatever the government is giving them as an loans and all will be debited or credited in this account, and then they can debit. Jan Samarth is a portal, like it is a government portal where all the government schemes, everything is mentioned at a single place. So through this portal, Kisan credit cards will be provided and the funds can be directly taken by the farmers and they can use for cultivation, right? So this is about the agriculture priority area 1. Is there any doubts in this? Any doubts in this? That is priority area 1. If you have any doubts, you can ask here. Now government is also promoting the priority 2 area. Now we are moving to the second priority what government has aimed at, right? So in this, employment and skill development we will see. Employment and skill development we will see what government has allocated, right? So it was named, whatever the package, the money that was provided, it was divided or it was named as Prime Minister's package. This is like a scheme, the funds, right? So they are going to give the funds under the name of Prime Minister package. Under this package they have posted 3 schemes, scheme A, scheme B and scheme C. We will see in detail. I am repeating again. So government want to encourage the employment first. They want to encourage creation of lot of employment. For that purpose they have launched the Prime Minister's package, and under that there are 3 sub schemes, scheme A, scheme B and scheme C, right? So these are the 3 schemes where government want to promote the creation of employment, right? Now let us see what is this scheme A and scheme B and scheme C as well. There are 3 schemes to create employment. First one, scheme A, for the first timers. So if you are a fresher, that means without being any employment till now. So for that particular section the government has launched the scheme A, where they are encouraging the employees, that means who want employment, to go and register, take an employment, right? So if you just register and take an employment in any company, you will get the 1 month wage up to 15,000. So it is encouraging the people to do employ. Usually most of the cases certain people don't want to do in certain type of jobs. They will wait for government job or they will wait for service sector job, and then even though if they are having education, sufficient education and skill, they are waiting for employment, right? So for such people, to encourage them to get employment, government is launching the scheme A, which will be given with 1 month wage up to 15,000, right? So up to 15,000 government is going to give it at for free of cost for the youth who are going to get the first time jobs, right? It is expected to benefit 210 lakh youth. It is an expectation of the government that this scheme will help 210 lakh youth to encourage to involve in the employment, right? So this is the scheme A. And scheme B, job creation in manufacturing specifically, job creation in manufacturing. Here this will be linked to the first time employers as well as the existing ones. Here the government is going to give the fund incentive for the employees means those who are asking for employment, like we are all the employees, right? Employees. And then it is also going to encourage employers, those who are recruiting. It is encouraging employees as well as employment. These employees, government has already given 15,000 who are going to start their business in organized sector. So everything will be registered. Now what is this difference in this? Now to understand this, you need to understand one thing. Whenever you are doing any employment, any organized employment, there is a NPS, National Pension Scheme. Certain funds has to be deducted from your salary, and that has to be kept aside on your account. You will have a EPFO account number. Certain funds which has to be given by the employer, that is whoever is taking employment, right, who is ever recruiting. So they has to keep certain funds aside for your pension in the future after retirement. Also certain fund will be deducted from your salary, right? So they are going to deduct from your salary as well as they are going to take from the employer as well, right? This is a mandatory in India for organized sector for those whose salary is less than 15,000. Now to encourage both the things, like employees as well as employers, government is going to provide certain funds. So it is saying that you no need to provide, this employer, whoever, say for example Tata is taking employment, so you no need to provide this fund. Let us, we ourselves will provide for at least specified for first 4 years. So for first 4 years we are going to provide, you no need to provide anything separately for the pension of the employee, we are going to provide. So it is encouraging the private companies to recruit more as their burden has decreased, right? So this is what it is going to benefit approximately 30 lakh youth. This is also important number. All these things can be asked in any type of exams, right? And finally the scheme C, support for employers. The same thing here, they are going to give 3,000 per month, whatever this contribution is there, 3,000 they are going to give for 2 years of all new hires. This is not for old hires, for whatever the new hires they are going to recruit for 2 years, every month 3,000 government itself is going to give, right? So here it is specified sales for the first 4 years, like whatever the scales, specified scales in the sense some range for the existing employees, right? But this is for new employees, they are going to give 3,000 per month for 2 years, right? And this is going to benefit the 50 lakh jobs. So this is the 3 schemes government has taken up to encourage to create the more employment, right? So this is of the employment, fine. Now one more thing here to be understood, that the women participation in employment is less when we compare to the men. There are a lot of reasons like patriarchy, gender inequality, we have discrimination at the workplace, lack of facilities for women, right? So we have seen one of the groups that government has kept is women. For that purposes, government is going to come up with a new initiative to support the women to participate in the economy, right? So here whoever, like women, working women, hostels and creche facility. Hostels, it is a clean and safe, hostels are very important for us, especially for women who want to do work in cities, in many of the urban areas. So safety is a very concern. Now government is going to encourage to create such safe hostels across the working areas, industrial areas, and also creche facility. So creche facility are those facilities where women can give breastfeeding for their child, right? So most of the women after marriage, especially after the giving birth to kids, they stop working, right? So because of lack of facilities and all, that's why government want to encourage the creche facility where they can have a safe breastfeeding or whatever the motherhood activities, right? So here this is one important point that they are encouraging. They are also going to focus on women specific skills, certain like service sector, women's role is more, fine, they are usually recruited more in service sector. So women specific skilling will also be encouraged by the government, right. Next, market access for women self help groups. Self help groups are the voluntary organizations like cooperative societies where women will come up with all, they will put small amounts, again it will become a big amount and then they will invest in the business. Whatever the goods that they are producing, they were not able to marketize, like promoting in Amazon or Flipkart, e-commerce and all, and they don't know how to promote this. So government will be going to take this role or opportunity to encourage those self help groups to have a market access, right. So these three are the objectives or initiatives government want to encourage the participation of women in the employment, fine. Next one, skill development. We have seen the priority 2 is employment and skill, right. Now we have seen employment, let's come towards the skill development, right. So we have already some schemes, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana and many more schemes are there, right. Now government want to come up with a new scheme. They have launched the new centrally sponsored scheme. Centrally sponsored means 60% funding will be given by the center, rest of the 40% states has to take care. If it is a northeast or special category states, 90% funds will be given by the center, rest will be borne by those states. Now new centrally sponsored scheme the government is going to launch, yet to be named that scheme, under which they are going to train 20 lakh youth over 5 period of time, a very important fact. So 20 lakh youth will be trained over the next 5 years of time in this particular through this particular scheme, right. Now model skill loan scheme will also be launched, right, where the people to take the skills, maybe for example I just want to work in a manufacturing sector, the government is not providing those skills in that particular sector, textiles for example. So what I need to do, I need to have a money, and parents may not support or parents may not be there for many of the people. So in such cases government is giving the skill loans, 7.5 lakh for each individual, they will give the money. So you can just get the skills, get employment, then pay the loan, right. So this is the objective, the model skill loan is going to be launched by the government. Next one, financial support for loans up to 10 lakh for higher education in domestic institutions. Many of the people like students, they do have what you call wish to do higher education like MTech or whatever, like master's degree, PhD and all. For that purpose also the government is coming up with the 10 lakh for higher education. So you can take loan directly from the government, 10 lakh rupees government will give and you can educate in the higher whatever master degree and all, then you get employment, then pay back, right. So government is encouraging that, fine. So this is few things and few more are there. So this we have already seen, first point. And 1000 industrial training institutes, ITIs, these are the ones which gives skills, right, small trainings, apprenticeship and all. So 1000 training institute will be upgraded with the new developments like artificial intelligence and all, right, and then course content design, whatever the requirement of content for skill upgradation, that will also be focused by the government, right. Next, this one we have seen, this also we have seen, right. So whatever 10 lakhs that government is giving for higher education, they are directly going to give through e-vouchers. E-vouchers means once you receive the voucher, you will get a code to your number, whatever maybe. If you decode, you will directly get your money into your account, right. So this annual interest subvention, so whatever the loans that you are taking for higher education, 3% government itself is sponsoring. Now you take the loan, say for example 10 lakh you take and it is 10% or 8% education loan, 3% will be paid by the government, rest of the things you can pay after your employment, right. So these are the second priority. Is this clear? Is this clear with second priority? Sumuk Pradhan, yes, 3 means they are going to give up with the 5,000 like for every quarter, right. I mean it's 4 months, you can take 12 months are there, so in 3 installments 5, so you can take for every 4 months they are going to give the 5,000, right. It is not the at a go, they are going to give 5,000 for every 4 months, right. So this is what the meaning is. I hope that is clear. If you have any doubts, please do let me know. Let's move to the third priority, right. So third priority is inclusive human resource development and social justice. So up to 4 or 5 priority areas we have a lengthy ones, after that we have a shorter ones, right. So inclusive human resources development and social justice. This is the one where government want to encourage the backward sections. Certain regions like Bihar or maybe some other states, they are lagging behind when compared to the other states. That is why government want to play the level playing field. So they want to push the states which were lagging behind, right. For that purpose, they are not only states, some individuals, some sections, that is also they are going to encourage, right. So under this, let us see what they have planned for. First one, under Purvodaya, Purvodaya means sunrise, you can take it in English, a sunrise. So they want to encourage in a rising, the states they want to encourage to push to rise up, right. For this purpose, they have allocated certain funds. First one, they are going to focus on node at Gaya, that is Bihar. We are already having a Amritsar to Kolkata industrial corridor, you can see here. So from Kolkata to Amritsar, they are focusing the industrial corridors. Industrial corridors are those where all the facilities will be provided to encourage to start the industries across this path, right. So throughout this path there will be lot of industries and also very good connection with the transport, so that there won't be affected in terms of the markets, all those things. So already we were having the Amritsar, that is in Punjab, to Kolkata, this is the industrial corridor. Now they are going to focus on Gaya. Nodes are those regions where the industries are focused, right. Many industries are focused on this, not throughout the land there will be industries, right. So this is just to encourage the transport and all, but in certain regions there will be different industries based on the local conditions they can establish. So here government is going to develop the node at Gaya with a lot of industries, they are going to spend lot of things, and specifically they are going to encourage the power projects in this Gaya node. Power projects with the capacity to develop 2400 megawatts of power at the Pirpainti. So it is also in Bihar. So they are going to take up with the 21,400 crores near Gaya. This Pirpainti is near Gaya itself. So they are going to push by giving 21,400 crores for the industrial corridor in this Gaya region in Bihar, right. So this is about the giving to certain benefit to the Bihar region, right. Now they are also going to give funds for the Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh is the only state in the last 1 decade they do not have any proper capital. In all the states in India, Andhra Pradesh is the state which they do not have any capital till now. For that purpose, government is going to give 15,000 crore through loans. That means, for example, this is Andhra Pradesh and we have a central government. Now what they will do? They will take loans from World Bank and many multilateral organizations like Asia Development Bank and all. Center will take loan and then those loans will be given to the Andhra Pradesh state, and in the finally center will itself will pay. So there is no burden on Andhra Pradesh, they are just taking the loans from other organizations and then they are giving it for free to the Andhra Pradesh. In the end, like after the term period or the maturity period, the central government will itself will pay back, right. So they have given 15,000 crores specifically to develop the capital for Andhra Pradesh, that is Amaravati. They are aiming to develop the Amaravati. So that is the central government provision. Not only that, they are also going to have a industrial node at 2 places. There are 2 industrial corridors which are passing through Andhra Pradesh. One is Vizag Chennai. So you can see this is if Andhra Pradesh. So this is Vizag and this is Chennai. So Vizag Chennai industrial corridor, right. So Vizag or Visakhapatnam we call it, Visakhapatnam Chennai industrial corridor is there. Under that they are going to focus on Kopparthi, which is in Kadapa district, right. So they are going to focus like how Gaya industrial node was going to be developed, same way Kopparthi industrial node they are going to focus on. Similarly, one more industrial corridor is there, Hyderabad and Bangalore industrial corridor. From Hyderabad to Bangalore also there is an industrial corridor, right. Here they are going to support the Orvakal node. Orvakal is near Kurnool district in Rayalaseema region of the Andhra Pradesh. So they are also going to focus industrial node here, right. So 2 places, Kopparthi and Orvakal is going to be focused on 2 industrial corridors. You have to remember, a very important question can be asked in the exam, right. Now again women led development. here inclusive, that means we have seen the states to push, Bihar and Andhra Pradesh was pushed, and also now individuals, women is going to be also focused on, right. So total allocation for women is going to be more than 3 lakh crore for the schemes. This is a very important one to remember. Total 3 lakh crore for scheme benefits of specifically of women, government is going to allocate, fine. And then government has already launched last year Pradhan Mantri Janjatiya Unnat Gram Abhiyan, right. So there is lot of tribal people in India, approximately 8% of tribal people are there, but their development was lagging behind. That is what the priority is. Objective is inclusive human development. That means all the sections has to get developed, not just about the higher castes or some religion. So it is to encourage everyone. So to encourage the tribal people to get all the basic facilities that is required, government has already launched the Pradhan Mantri Janjatiya Unnat Gram Yojana, right, or Abhiyan. Now for this particular purposes, the government is going to cover 63,000 villages which are focusing on the tribal people. So 63,000 villages they are focusing on to develop under this particular scheme, right. Similarly, they are also going to create a bank branches in the northeast region. In the northeast region of India, in this region, northeast is usually underdeveloped or lagging behind. Now they are pushing the northeast region through creation of 100 branches of India Post Payment Bank. Post Payment Bank means whatever the post office are there, throughout India post office network was highly developed, but financial resources in those post offices were not very much encouraged. But now they are going to take up with the small banks within post offices to encourage more savings of those northeast regions. So 100 such branches are going to be launched under the this particular northeast region. So all these things we have discussed. The same image we have got screenshotted. So more than 3 lakhs, and they are going to also empower the richest resource states in the eastern part of India, Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal, Odisha, Jharkhand. So in these regions they are going to encourage as well, right. So this is about the priority 3 area. Any doubts in this? Very good evening Shanti, welcome to the session. Any doubts in this priority 3? Now last 2 priorities we are having a little bit lengthy ones, and then we will finish the priorities, right. Any doubts in this? Please do respond. Is this clear up to till now? Next priority is of manufacturing and services. Manufacturing as well as services government want to encourage this to achieve the developed nation, fine. For that purpose, great, thank you. So for that purpose, the first initiative is credit guarantee scheme for MSMEs in the manufacturing sector. As I said earlier, the importance of the present economy is to encourage the job creators. So for that purpose, MSMEs are going to be encouraged, right. Small business, whoever want to start, right, less than 20 crores rupees of investment, government want to encourage them, right. For that purpose, now they are focusing on manufacturing sector. There are lot of MSMEs, small and micro industries in the service sector, but not in the manufacturing sector. That is why government has come up with the initiative to focus more on the manufacturing sector MSMEs, right. For this purpose, the government has come up with a credit guarantee scheme. This will be without any collateral. So whatever if you want to start a business, for example small business, whatever the equipment or machinery that is required for you, you need to take some loan, because we are all middle class and it is very difficult to have a proper funds, right. So we are going to take the bank loans. For that purpose also we need to have a collateral, you need to keep the proof, without that the banks will not going to be give the loans. So to address that challenge, government has come up with the collateral free. That means you don't need to give any proof, you just buy the equipment, whatever the equipment that is required for your business, that will be backed by the government, and there is no requirement of any collateral. Anyway, if you does not pay it, they will take your machinery in the end, right. So this is what the logic behind it. They are going to support the machinery and equipment without any collateral free loans, and third party surety is also not required from the banks, right. Now credit support during stress period. So MSMEs go through stress period. For example, you take COVID, lot of business were boomed in 2018, 17, 19, but immediately after COVID, like during COVID also, there is lot of financial stress on MSMEs, lot of business were closed, right. In that situations also, government is going to come up with the credit support, right, to sustain the business. This is one more thing. And then Mudra loans. There is already a Mudra scheme where government is giving 3 types of loan, Tarun, Shishu and Kishore. There are 3 types of loans based on the like amount of money. Tarun scheme is the smallest scheme under PM Mudra loans. Government was giving lot of loans, encouraging loans. Now it was a limit to take 10 lakhs, up to 10 lakhs government is going to support, but now it is increased to 20 lakhs. So under the Tarun scheme they are going to encourage you to take 20 lakh loans, 20 lakh rupees loan, right. So this is one more thing. Now it is also going to encourage mandatory onboarding of TREDS. TREDS is a platform, it's like a website where MSMEs will register and take funding and all these activities. So if those, they are pushing MSMEs to register under TREDS platform so that government can track their performance, and then whatever the benefits that they are going to get, they are going to get it through this platform, right. So this was being encouraged, right. And then MSME units which are focused on food. There is a lot of small business on food also, right, like packing and all those things. For that, food irradiation is going to be encouraged. Food irradiation means using the electromagnetic rays we are increasing the shelf life of food or the quality of food, right. So government is going to encourage those safety testing, food irradiation and all, right. Financial setup of 50 multi-product food radiation units. So there need to be a food radiation centers to test or to give more shelf life to the food. So that government is going to create the 50 such food irradiation centers, right. So you can see here, this is the summarizing up, you can just go through it. The PDF will also be attached, all the whatever we are discussing. So this is a summing up what we have discussed. Finally, under this theme 4, government is also encouraging e-commerce export hubs. Now e-commerce is getting a lot of limelight, right. You are not buying directly by going to the shop, rather you are going to take or order whatever you want through digital source, that is called as e-commerce, right. Government is going to encourage e-commerce hubs with the public private partnership, that means with private player they will collaborate, like how BSNL is going to collaborate with the Tata, recent news, a couple of days news before. Similarly government is going to collaborate with the private organization, and then they are going to create the e-commerce export hubs where they will focus on those businesses which will focus the production of goods and service to promote the e-commerce exports to other countries, right. So this is one thing. Government is also going to come up with the support to critical mineral mission. We have discussed critical minerals, if you could able to remember. Critical minerals are those minerals which are required for our core economy, like lead, ion batteries. If you want to develop, we need lead, lithium, fine. So there are 30 such critical minerals recognized by government. Now for this purpose government is going to promote the recycling of critical minerals and also overseas acquisition. India does not have too much of critical minerals, right. So government want to take up the projects in the other countries also, like Argentina and all, like how USA and India are collaborating to extract the resources, critical minerals from Argentina, right. So that is the thing. And also 12 industrial parks are going to be developed under National Industrial Corridor Development Program. So we are discussing the theme for promote the manufacturing, right. So manufacturing the process to generate goods. So coming back, for that purpose to encourage the manufacturing, 12 industrial parks are going to be created by the government, fine. Also rental housing dormitory are going to be promoted near those industries for the residential things. Whatever the employees that are involved in producing these surrounding these 12 industries, they will also get the residential things, right. Critical mineral mission we have already discussed, right. And government is also coming up with the tribunals to reduce the dispute. Whatever the business are there, they will get lot of disputes between the investors and then employees, lot of disputes will be there. For that also government is come up with the initiative that they will be establishing the new tribunals specifically to encourage them. Then government is also going to promote internship. For example, you want to do internship before going into the actual job, you want to know the skills, how it works and all. For that purpose also government is going to provide a scheme in 500 top companies to 1 crore youth in 5 years. So in the next 5 years they are going to support 1 crore youth to take internship in the top 500 companies. So you will generate the skills also, right, and will be helpful for the industry. Allowance of 5,000 per month will be given at one instant for through various funds like 6,000 through CSR funds and all. So they are going to give 5,000 rupees per month along with the assistance of 6,000 rupees through CSR, that is corporate social responsibility. So whatever if any company is getting lot of profits, at least 2% of their profit has to be spent on developing the corporate social responsibility like education and all. Now they are going to reroute those companies' profits towards the youth, right, who want to get the internship, right. 5,000 plus 6,000 through the CSR activities, 5,000 government will give, fine. So this is the internship opportunities provided for the manufacturing sector. Finally, offshore mining minerals. So government is also promoting the manufacturing through auction of the mining activity, right. And then digital public infrastructure, we have seen whatever the digital common public infrastructure they are going to encourage in the manufacturing sector also, right. So this is what the government has taken in the manufacturing and service sector. Is this clear? Correct. 6,000 plus that will be routed from CSIR, the private companies, and 5,000 will be given by the government, right? Right, yes. So this is about the priority sector 4. Now we will go for the priority 5, that is urban development. Urban development, this is the priority 5. Under this, first objective of government is to develop transit oriented development. You might be facing lot of struggle if you are in the cities in terms of transport. It takes more than 1.5 hours to transport from one region to other region, right, because of traffic and all, right. So to tackle that situation, government is going to integrate lot of the transport facilities like metro, road, rails, local trains, right. So they are going to develop the transit oriented development, that is to feasible to make ease of the urban people to move from one place to other place. So that is called as the transit oriented development. For this, government has going to target the 14 large cities with above 30 lakh population like Delhi, Hyderabad, Bengaluru. Bengaluru traffic is a huge problem now for those people who are working there. Now government is going to finance the 14 cities whose population is more than 30 lakhs to develop the easy transport facilities. So this is also very important one. They may ask you directly what is transit oriented development, fine. Now urban housing also, already government has come up with a lot of initiative including Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana to provide housing facilities. For that, government now is come up with the Pradhan Mantri Yojana Awas Yojana version 2.0, right. So under this 10 lakh crore houses will be funds will be given. 10 lakh crore fund is going to be given under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Under the 10 lakh crore, 2.2 lakh crore will be exclusively given by the government itself, central government. Rest of the 7.8, that is up to states as well as the private organizations to give loans, all those things and all. So 10 lakh crores they are going to spend on Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana to promote housing. Out of that, 2.2 lakh crores central government exclusively will be allocated, right. And with the aim, at least 1 crore urban poor people will get the houses. This is the target. 1 crore urban poor people will get the housing facilities, right, under this scheme. So we have discussed these things also, transit oriented development we have discussed. Now stamp duty. Stamp duty is the one where if you purchase you need to pay certain amount of stamp duties. It will be 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 1 lakh as well based on your property. Now for women to buy the houses, they are going to reduce the stamp duty. So they are encouraging the women housing also through this. For women who are going to buy the property, they are excluding the stamp duty. This is one initiative. Now street markets, you all know that there are a lot of street markets like vegetables all along the roads are there, right, you can see in the city areas. For the purposes, they are going to give the separate weekly haats, like you might be aware about the markets at particular days, Wednesday markets, Sunday markets, in that particular days they are encouraging, but now weekly haats they will encourage in the selective cities, so that those people who are depend on the street markets, they will be benefited, right. Transit orient development we have discussed, and water management also, they are going to connect the with good proper drainage and water facilities in the 100 large cities in India, right. So these are the urban development. Street markets we have already discussed, right. They are going to encourage the weekly haats, that is mandis. This also we have seen, 11 lakh crore we have discussed, right. So this we have already discussed. That is about the priority 5. The housing and all we have discussed. The same slide whatever we have discussed here, they have given in terms of image, right. So there is no missing, I am not missing anything to explain, just this already been discussed, fine. I hope this is clear. Is this clear with the priority 5? Now we are moving to the priority 6, that is energy security and energy transition, right. So in this energy security, energy means any electricity or fuel, whatever, those are all considered under the energy, right. Now our energy is mostly of, in terms of electricity it is of thermal power plant, thermal energy, in terms of fuel it is petroleum and diesel. But now government want to transit from this particular climate issues, I mean they are having climate issues with petroleum and diesel, so they want to encourage to shift from this type of energy towards the other type of energy which are environmental friendly, right. For that purposes they are coming up with the initiative, with the paper they are going to give the practical how we can transit and all. They are also going to encourage pumped storage policy. Pumped storage means whatever electricity that is generated will be stored and then pumped later, right. So they are going to expand the storage facilities of the renewable energy and then that will be given whenever it is required, right. Research and development of small and modular nuclear reactors. So they are going to encourage the small nuclear reactors. So energy can also be generated through nuclear power plants, right. So we have like Kudankulam power plant, we have, there is lot of electricity that they can generate. Now they are going to encourage the small and medium nuclear reactors rather than the big ones which will have issues in terms of space and all. They are going to encourage the small nuclear plants to generate the electricity. That is going to be launched through Bharat Small Reactors Initiative. This is also important to be remembered. Bharat Small Reactors, they are going to generate the energy and provide it to enhance the energy security for the people, right. So this we have already discussed, Bharat Small Reactors, and then research and development of small reactors we have already discussed, pumped storage policy we have discussed, and energy audit. Energy audit means estimating how we are using the energy. Based on that we will know what is a good way, what is a bad way, and according to that they can shift the bad way to good way. So they are going to conduct the energy audits. For this investment they will concentrate on 60 clusters and expand to the 100 clusters. So they are going to take 60 clusters across the country to audit the utility of energy, and they may expand it to 100 clusters in the future. Next one, advanced ultra critical thermal power plants. So advanced ultra supercritical thermal power plants. So critical or supercritical thermal power plants are those which will use less coal but produce more energy. There is a lot of technology behind it, you no need to worry. So they are going to encourage those supercritical thermal power plants where with less amount of coal we can generate lot of electricity. So this is also going to be focused. It will be a joint venture. A joint venture means a separate company will be established with the support of National Thermal Power Plant and Bharat Heavy Electronics Limited. These two companies will create separate funds and establish a separate joint venture to generate 80 megawatts of energy. So I am coming back, like advanced supercritical power plants they are going to encourage. For that to encourage they are going to establish a joint venture between NTPC and BHEL to generate 800 megawatts. So they may ask you in the exam about, see we will come up with the MCQs also after the budget session, maybe after a couple of days. It's just understand here the facts, whatever the process is, then when you are solving MCQs your brain will search, okay, this type of questions can be asked in the exam. So no need to worry about it. Now just understand, once you solve MCQs you will get an idea, okay. So 800 megawatts they are going to generate through ultra critical super thermal power plants, right. So this is they are going to take up. One more important and the last one under this priority is hard to abate industries. There are many industries which are generating the electricity, but those are negative climate influences. For that purposes those industries which are which are difficult to convert from one to other method, right, those are called as hard to abate. We cannot, it is very big challenge to shift those industries towards a normal climate friendly. So government now is going to take up those challenge also. Those industries also government is come up with the new technology. They did not elaborate how they are going to do, but yes, they have said that they are going to encourage these industries to shift, right. So this is the priority number 6. Is there any doubt in this? I hope that is clear. Next one about the infrastructure, very simple, 7, 8, 9 priority we can complete in the 5 to 8 minutes, and then we will go to the data ones, fine. So infrastructure investment, what is the total GDP of our country? Please do answer. We have discussed in the beginning itself. What is the total GDP of our country? In the beginning itself I have mentioned. Anyone? Please do answer. We have discussed at the beginning, that is 326 lakh crore is our total GDP, right. So we have discussed this in the beginning itself. I have asked you to remember, and what is the our total budget? 48 lakh crore, right. This is what the government has planned to invest, right. So we have discussed this, correct Srinath? Yes. So out of that total GDP, 3.4%, it amounts to 11,11,111 crore. This much amount of money government is going to create or invest in the capital expenditure. Capital expenditure means those expenditure of the government which will create the assets, and in future they will get back the money. For example, take roads, highways, whatever government create, you need to provide or you need to pay the toll and all. So this is a capital expenditure where government will get funds, lot of money from those infrastructure. For this purpose government is going to focus on 11,11,111 crore government is going to invest in the capital expenditure, right. And infrastructure investment by state governments, they want to encourage the state governments also, they alone cannot invest all the things. So they want to encourage, for that purposes 1.5 lakh crore long term interest free loans. For example, central government will give to like Uttar Pradesh or Bihar, you take money, take 1.5 lakh crore from us, we will give you loan without any interest, you no need to pay any interest also, but make sure that this 1.5 lakh crores will be invested in creation of infrastructure. Any states can take, every 28 states can take, and they can invest in infrastructure. In future they need to pay back without any interest. So this is also very important, this number is also important to develop the infrastructure, right. So we have discussed this, right, this also we have discussed, 1.5 lakh crore for states, this also we have discussed. And also phase 4 of Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, there is already a scheme called Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana to develop the rural roads. For this government is going to aim to connect 25,000 rural habitations, government is going to connect through Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. So this number is also important, they will ask you in the exam, right. So these are the infrastructure ones. Yes, we have discussed just now Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. Also related to the irrigation and flood, this is also part of infrastructure only, right. So financial support of 11,500 crores will be given for the Kosi Mechi intra-state link. So between the Bihar and Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, they are going to create the interstate link where they are supporting with the 11,500. So they can transfer the river. Kosi is called as the sorrow of Bihar because many times there is a lot of floods in the Bihar region. Now whatever the excess floods or water is there, that will be shifted to the other river basin, that is Mechi river. For that particular purpose government has come up with the 11,500 crore rupees, right, to mitigate the flood, and also those water can be used by other state, right. Government is also going to provide assistance to various states like Assam, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim for flood management and landslides, right. The same thing was discussed here, fine. So this we have already discussed. Now tourism, very important, as part of infrastructure only. We are discussing about the total infrastructure for industries, all those things. Now we are coming for the tourism. For tourism, they have come up, identified certain circuits. They are going to develop Vishnupad temple corridor. This is in Bihar. This temple is in Bihar. So to encourage the tourism, whatever the facilities required to encourage the tourism, they are going to create in this Vishnupad temple corridor, Mahabodh temple corridor, Mahabodhi, that is Bodh Gaya temple, and then Rajgira. So this is for Bihar. They are going to encourage the tourism in Bihar, fine. And then like wildlife sanctuaries, natural landscapes, they are going to also encourage. This specific budget, wherever we did not mention the number, they did not mention. In future they will allocate, so we need to update in the current affairs, right. So this we have discussed, and then Rajgir we have discussed, Nalanda we have discussed. In Odisha they are going to encourage the beach, wildlife sanctuary, all these scenic ones. And how much budget they did not mention. In future we have to see how much they give. Last before priority, I hope you are following. Welcome to the session, Sai Raj. Yes. So in case of any doubts, please do let me know. We are moving to the climax of these priorities. 8th priority, that is to encourage innovation, research and development. I have explained you in the beginning itself that India is lagging behind the research, right, research and development. For that purpose, government is going to encourage now. Government has come up with Anusandhan National Research Fund, a very, very important fact. Anusandhan National Research Fund they are going to come up with, and this is to encourage research and generate the prototypes before going into launching the actual project. They will be encouraging for research and development. For this purposes, financing pool of 1 lakh crore will be driven from private sector, like private players, not the government, but they will encourage the private players to invest and they get the profit back, right. 1 lakh crore they are going to do it in a commercial scale. And finally, space economy. Now you can see there is a lot of private player, not just about Elon Musk, SpaceX. There is a lot of Dhruv Tara in India, and many more companies are coming in a space investment, launching the satellites and all. So for that they are going to create 1000 crore to be set up, right, in the in the next 10 years. In the next 10 years government is going to invest 1000 crores in the space, so that they encourage the space GDP by 5 times, right. So this is the space related thing that government has come up with, space economy, to spend 1000 crores. So this we have already discussed, and this also we have discussed, the same image in terms of the content, fine. Last priority, that is 9th priority, next generation reforms. You all know, you go to the rural areas, there is a lot of disputes between the local farmers, that this land has been occupied by that person, and then this land we have lost. There is a lot of disputes because there is no proper land records. For that purpose, government will be coming up with the land surveys, land related action, not only in rural areas but also urban areas. So they are going to give unique number for each of the land, like how we have a Aadhaar number individually. They are going to give the unique number for the rural lands, right, so that in the future there won't be any dispute, right. There will be digitalized maps for all the land, they will be digitally available, so that nobody can occupy the others land, right. And survey as well as establishment of land registry, right, linking the farmers to that registry. So all those things are just to manage the land records. Similarly in urban lands also, in urban related also they are going to have a land records, fine. Now services to labor, whoever does not have land but they are working in those agriculture fields, that will also be a eShram portal will be already there. So they are going to integrate and they can know how much agriculture land they are taken lease and they are working and all, right. Now one more thing, national pension scheme for Vatsalya. So there are a lot of instances where there is a death of parents and then children were orphaned, right. So for that purpose government has come up with the national pension scheme Vatsalya for the children. So parents can give certain amount of fund or money every month separately, and that money will go to the minors whoever are there. So in future also they can get it. So they are encouraging this one. So all those things are same, fine. So that is about the discussions related to the 9 priority areas. Any doubts in this? Now we are moving to the taxation. A briefly taxation will be there for 10-15 minutes, and then we will see the numbers. Any doubts in this? Great. Now let us move to the taxation part. We can discuss taxation for 10 minutes. What taxation reforms government has brought, what are the collections, all those things are also we have to know. Taxation part, let us understand here. The government will collect the taxes, right. So taxation means any money collected from the individuals based on their income, all those things and all. Now there are two types of taxation. One is direct tax, other one is indirect tax. Direct tax means government will directly collect the individuals. You take income tax, corporate tax, individuals will directly pay to the government. There is no intermediaries, nobody are there in between to collect. Whereas in case of indirect taxes like GST, there are intermediaries. You are not directly paying the tax to the government. If you buy this pen, there is a GST, say for example 5%. You are not directly paying it to the government. You are paying it to the shopkeeper, and then shopkeeper or producer is transferring that to the government, right. So direct tax, indirect tax. In that, direct tax is always good because the burden will be created directly on the person. Now say for example I am middle class, I am paying 1000 rupees for pen, right. So I need to pay 1000 rupees or 10% tax, say for example 100 rupees. Even the poor person, same rate he need to pay, right. So the pen is 1000 rupees only, even the poor person has to pay 1000 rupees and the rich person or middle class person also need to pay 1000 rupees. Direct tax, they will collect, they can modify. Rich people who are earning more, they can collect more tax, and for poor people they can say that 1% you pay. So direct tax is actually a good thing because the government can directly put the burden on the person whom they want to collect, right. So this is the tax that government is collecting as percent of GDP. Remember this numbers is as percent of GDP. GDP is 326 lakh crores, we have just seen. Now the total tax that government is collecting year on year, you can see 2022-23, 23-24, 23-24 revised, and this next year. So government is going to collect 11.8% of total GDP. You can say 11.8 by 100 into 100. So this is what the government is going to collect in terms of tax, total tax. In that, direct tax is 6.8 lakh crores, indirect tax is 5 lakh crore. That means in exam they may ask you, direct tax is more than indirect tax. Yes, 6.8 lakhs crores are coming from direct tax and 5 lakh crores government is collecting from indirect taxes, right. So this is also very important. You can see the trend also, direct taxes was actually reduced and then it has increased, whereas indirect taxes is almost stable and reducing, which means a good sign. Indirect tax should be less, direct tax should be more. So it is a good sign for us, the trend is good sign, fine. Now within this indirect taxes, what initiatives government has come up with? A very important one, right. So indirect taxes, government has expanded, government is getting lot of GST, indirect tax, right. So government has come up got lot of GST collections in every month. So they are just saying that we are getting lot of GST. Now sector specific custom duty, this is the budget. In this budget government is aiming to reduce the indirect tax. Custom duty means what? Custom duty is a duty where any goods which is coming to our country from other countries, let it say China or America or whatever, Netherlands, Germany. So whatever the goods coming into our country from other countries, government will levy some tax. That tax is called as the custom tax, right. So custom tax now government want to discourage, right. So in the whatever important articles are there, custom tax is an indirect tax, right. So people are not directly paying it to the government, rather it is paying through some transaction middleman. Now they are going to change the change in custom duties. So let us see what changes government has made. Fully exempt 3 more cancer medicines. So whatever cancer medications are there that we are importing from other country, so this is a very basic thing for health, it is very much required. So now it is fully exempted, right. So those medicine names are here, you can see it is very difficult to pronounce it, right. So these 3 medicines government is going to remove all the custom duty, so you import for it free, that is what the government has said. Next one related to mobile industry, reduce basic custom duties to 15% on mobile phones and chargers. So whatever like iPhone and all, they are going to get less cost now, right. So at least 15% custom duties they are going to reduce. So iPhones, whatever the import phones are there, they are going to reduce the cost, right. Now reduce custom duty on gold and silver, right. So gold and silver they are going to reduce it to 6%. Earlier it was there around 10 or 12%. So now gold, if you want to buy from other countries, that will be less cost, right. So 6% they have came to, and platinum 6.4. So they have reduced it, the import or the custom duties, fine. So this means the cost of gold and platinum is going to be decreased as they have reduced the custom duties. Reduce basic custom duty on shrimp and fish feed to 5%. Earlier it was 10% or something. Now import of shrimps and fishes from other countries will also get reduced. So you can have a foreign fishes in your dish, right. So just kidding, you can have more food of Indian fish, fine. Now exempted more capital goods for manufacturing for solar cells and panels. So whatever input that is required, solar panels and all we are importing, there is a lot of taxes on it, custom duty. Now they have exempted it, right, for capital goods. That means those goods which can be used in the other producing goods. Fully exempt custom duties on 25 critical minerals. There are custom duties on lot of critical minerals, but now they are required for our economy. That is why they have fully exempted. All these exemptions are very important in your exam. Custom duties you have to remember. What taxation policies government has bought, right. Next one, X-ray tubes, flat panel detectors of X-rays. This also government has reduced the customs duty, right. Now yes, custom duty was removed on oxygen free copper for manufacturing resistors, right. Resistors are the ones which will not allow electricity passage, right. So you can see here ammonium nitrate they have increased because this is a harmful thing for environment. That is why they have increased from 7.5 to 10% of customs duty, a very important one. And then polyvinyl chloride flexi banners. So to discourage use of plastic, they have increased 10 to 25% of tax. So if you are importing any plastic from other country, you need to pay more. So now the cost of plastic will increase. Similarly, it was increased for telecom equipment, whatever the plastic that we are using for telecom equipment, they have increased from 10 to 15%. This is also important. For promotion of domestic aviation and boat shipping, now they have allowing the like imports. You can take equipment and then they need to actually send back in 6 months. Whatever the equipment they have taken, they need to give it back in 6 months, because that they need to pay continuous payments and we need to give our rupees. So to contain that, government was kept the 6 months, now it was increased for 1 year. So you import the repair equipment for your ships and aviation, but you can send within 1 year, not 6 months. So they have encouraged it, right. Now coming to the direct taxes, is there any doubt in this indirect taxes? Correct, Nagasauria, you are correct. Is this clear about indirect taxes? Now we are moving to the direct taxes, fine. Direct taxes are those which the burden keeps directly on the people. So they are now simplifying the taxes. They are saying that these are generic things, you no need to worry too much. They are going to simplify the taxes, right. Enhance revenue. So direct taxes they are going to collect the lot, right. So that is why there is a criticism also from the taxpayers, but actually this is a required for the government, because they want to take from the people who are earning and then they want to spend on the welfare schemes for the poor people, right. So don't take it as a negative, it is actually privilege that you are paying a tax and that is going for the poor. Government want to encourage the tax, it can be income tax, it can be corporate, the private companies as well, right. So 58% of corporate tax has been simplified. More than 2/3 taxpayers availed simple tax regime in this year. So they are saying that we have simplified the corporate tax and all, fine. Now tax structure, you can see here the tax structure, fine. This is the income tax structure now given by the government. Until you earn up to 3 lakh rupees, if you are earning until 3 lakhs, there is no tax, zero. If you are earning between 3 lakhs to 7 lakhs of a person, then you have to pay 5% tax to the government. If you are earning between 7 to 10 lakhs, you need to pay 10% of the tax. If you are earning between 10 to 12 lakh, then 15% tax you need to pay. 12 to 15 you need to pay 20% of tax, and more than 15 lakhs if your package annually, then 30% of tax you need to pay. So this is the tax structure, right? Next one, standard deduction for salaried employees. You need to understand what actually is a standard deduction. Standard deduction means the amount which you can take out from your salary the whole year and you can utilize for something else, you can put it, right? So that is a deduction. So up to 75,000, earlier it was 50,000. So whatever 50,000 you are spending, that is not taxed, but now the government has encouraged it for 75,000. So you can take 75,000, you can invest on something and it will be exempted, right? Now same with the family pensioners who are getting up to 25, they can keep separate fund, they can take out their pension up to 25,000 and invest on something, so they will be exempted from the tax. Earlier it was only 15,000 they can take separately, but now 25,000 they can keep separately and that will not be taxed, right? And they can spend on something else, fine. And this TDS, tax deduction at source, is the one where government asks the company which is giving you salary, so to deduct tax in the initial itself, the starting of the financial year itself, so that they can track your earnings and all, and then accordingly they can tax you in the future. Now for charities they have reduced, right? You can see these details in the PDF. So they have reduced, and this is not very important. For charity organizations they have reduced the tax deduction at source. So same thing with this. Now simplification of reassessment, whoever has not paid tax and then they are now filing the tax assessment and all, so it was simplified, right? So up to 50,000 lakh, 50 lakh, whoever are investing in either companies, right? Now they can take the reassessment, there won't be any fines, any penalties, right? So this is also to encourage the tax collection. Now what else is there? Yes, we have one more important thing here about the compliance burden and all, rationalizing the capital gains. Understand what is capital gains. Capital gains means whatever the asset, for example I have bought a flat for 1 crore, I have sold it after few months for 1.5 crore. So 0.5 crore here, 50 lakhs is my gain after selling my property. That is called as the capital gain tax. Whatever the profit that you have generated by selling your asset is called as a capital gain tax. Now short term gains of financial assets will be attracting 20% tax. Financial assets means bonds, gold, all these things are considered as a financial asset. So if you buy a gold for 1 crore this today, after 1 year you are selling it and you got 1.1 crore, so 10 lakh you got as a profit. That out of that profit 20% you need to pay to the government, right? And long term gains, this is a short term gain, that means within 1 year if you are getting profit, 20% will be levied. And long term gains, that means more than 1 year, if you are selling your property after 1 year, so that tax will be 12.5%. Is this clear about capital gains tax? Capital gains tax means whatever you are getting as a profit after selling the asset. So in a short term if you are getting, then 20% tax has to be paid, and long term you need to pay 12.5. If you are getting profit, any profit after 1 year, 12.5%. If you are not getting profit, no need to pay, right? For example, I have bought flat for 1 crore, next year I sold it for 90 lakhs, there is no profit, so I no need to pay back anything, right? And financial gains up to 1.25 lakh they are exempting. So if I got for a flat for 10 lakh, I have sold it for 11.25 lakh, small flat, right? So as I got only profit of 1.25 lakh, they are exempting, so no need to pay, right? So this is what they have given. Now they are abolishing the angel tax as well. Angel tax. Angel tax is a tax levied on those people who are investing in the new business, short MSME business and all. So they are encouraging the new business. Now they are going to abolish the angel tax completely. So you invest in the small business, we are not going to collect any tax. So they are pushing the investment in the small companies, right? Next, one more thing, corporate tax of foreign companies has reduced from 40% to 35%. So foreign companies like Apple, all those things who are investing in India, they were taxing 40%. So whatever the profit they are getting, 40% they are used to pay to the government itself out of the total profit. Now it was reduced to the 35%, right. So these are the taxes, right. Now they are going to digitalize all the taxes. This is a general statement. They are going to digitalize the taxation structure. Now also to reduce the litigations and appeals, like I will be for example my tax was reduced a lot, then what actually is. So I may file in the court that this was deducted by the government, or maybe with my company as well. So any disputes will be there. So now the government has come up with Vivad Se Vishwas scheme 2024 to reduce any dispute, tax dispute between the government and the companies, or government and the individuals, right. Now they are like monetary filing direct taxes. So rather than directly going to the high courts, you go to the tribunals, right, high courts, and rather than directly going for high courts and supreme courts, you come to the tax tribunals, means local courts, so that this won't be delayed. If it is directly to the high court, it will take lot of time, lot of money and all. So now they are asking to shift to the local tribunals. So up to 60 lakh if you are having dispute, if you are a company, if you are running a company and you are filing that there is a dispute with the 60 lakhs, right, now you can directly go to the tribunals. Then 2 crore you can directly go to high court, 5 crore then you can go to the supreme court. 5 crore or more if you are having dispute, you can directly go to supreme court. 2 lakh to 5 crore if you are having any dispute, you can directly go to high court, and then if it is up to 60 lakh you can go to the tribunals. So this is what it has created, right. Angel tax, this we have already discussed, 40% to 35%, this we have already discussed here, right. So here we have discussed already, this is the same point here in the explanation, fine. So that is the important tax benefit. Now coming to the data, there is lot of important data to be remembered. Now whatever the amount that government is getting, a rupee means it's a, say for example 100%, whatever government is getting, out of that income tax is 19%. Income tax is the most tax revenue. So from where government is getting, this is showing the graph or distribution, how the government is collecting the money, from where government is getting the money, right. 90% of the total funds of the government is coming from income tax, then 18% is coming from GST. So this is the most dominant one, need to remember, followed by GST and then corporate tax. So out of the 100 pies, government is getting 19 pies from the income tax, 18 pies from the GST, 17 pies from the corporate tax, and after that you can see the distribution. 27% are borrowing. So yesterday we have discussed about the receipts and revenue. Receipts include what the money government is taking in that 1 year, and revenue is one time payment that government no need to pay back anyone, right. So this, out of this receipts, whatever the money coming, 27% is borrowings, that means which we need to pay back, government need to pay back, government has to reduce it to 0% actually. So then it is a good thing. So out of the total 100 rupees for example they are getting, 27% is nothing but the borrowings and liabilities which they need to pay back in the future, right. Then non-tax receipts means revenue like stamp duties, all those things, right, and then customs 4%, non-debt capital receipts is 1%, right. So non-debt capital receipts means if government company Air India is there, they are selling it off, they are selling it the Air India, so the money amount is to the government only. So that is the non-debt capital receipts, right. So this is the most dominant one, you need to remember the distribution. Now where government expenditure is going, that is also important, where the government expenditure is going. Rupee goes, the highest rupee goes for interest payments. A very bad thing this is, because whatever the loans the government has taken previously, they need to pay back the interest. For example, you have taken the home loan 60 lakhs, you need to pay interest on it for the bank. So that is a bad money for the government. 90% of interest payments government is just giving total money, out of it 19% is a wasteful money, right. So that is one thing. Then 21% to the state share of taxes and duties, whatever central government is collecting the income tax and all, 21% is given to the all the states together, Andhra, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, all states together, government is giving away out of the total taxes it has collected, 21% taxes they are giving it to the states itself, right. Then we have central sector schemes. So 100% funded schemes by the government, central government. So 16% are giving for the schemes, central sector schemes, right. Then what else is there? Pensions, the total pensions for military, government employees and all, 4% is given. Centrally sponsored schemes means 60% is fund is given by the center. So this is been given to the states in terms of schemes implementation, right. This is 8%, right. Next one, defense expenditure, subsidies, you can see here, other expenditure 9%. So this is the distribution of the government expenditure. The dominant one is states taxes, whatever taxes given to the states, this is the most dominant one, paid by interest payments and then central sector schemes. So this is also very important slide that you need to remember, fine. Now what the schemes government has allocated, so we can quickly go through it. You can see in the PDF, Manrega has got 86,000 funds, right. Then research and development projects in terms of crores, you can see it in terms of crore, right. Research and development government has given 1200 crore, nuclear power projects government has given 2228 crores, right, in terms of crores, and pharmaceutical industry government is giving 2143 crore. Then semiconductor display manufacturing government has given 6,903 crores, right. Direct benefit transfer LPG scheme government is providing 1500 crores. Lines under idea scheme, this is innovation for defense excellence. On defense projects, government want to encourage defense development in India, for that government has given 3,849, and then solar power government is investing 10,000 crore. So this is numbers you have to mug up to which schemes government has allocated more, fine. And the highest ministry, these are the ministry where government has got the major expenditure. Government has allocated the most of the funds to the defense, 4,54,773 crores was given to the defense, followed by rural development 2.65 lakh crores, alright, and agriculture 1.51 lakh crores we have seen in the beginning itself. Then home ministry, education, IT and telecom. So these are the ministries, you can just remember the top three, defense, rural development and agriculture got the highest one. Any doubts in this? Now we are moving to the last part of the budget. Please do confirm, is this clear? We have discussed about the distribution of money by the government to which, where money is getting, where government is giving money, right. We are moving to the last part. Yeah, thank you Mahendra for the response. So last part of the budget is budget in numbers. The total amount of money that government is doing expenditure is 48.21 lakh crore. We have seen the total budget is 48.21 lakh crore. Great, thank you Santosh and Keshav. Now also you need to answer, out of this total expenditure there is a 48.21 lakh crore, but the total receipts, that means the money which government is getting from all the sources is 32.07 lakh crore. Our expenditure, say you take example, your expenditure is 1000 rupees per month, but you are getting only 800 rupees, right. So this is how the government situation is. The total expenditure planned was 48.21 lakh crore, but whatever the government is getting revenue is just 32.07. Now how can we do this? The rest of how much? 16 lakh crore. How can government get it? Anyone? What will government do? The total expenditure is 48.21 lakh crore and the total revenue that government is getting, you are just getting, you need to spend 1000 rupees, but you are getting from your parents only 800 per month. So what will you do to take the 200 rupees? Here 16 lakh crores, where government can get it? Yes, very good. So borrowings, right. So these are the ones where government has to borrow from markets or from some World Bank, wherever may be, right. So that borrowings is called as the fiscal deficit. Very simple, many students are confused with the fiscal deficit, right. So fiscal deficit means the amount of money government has to take in that 1 year. In that 1 year, how much money government want to take it extra than what they are available, that is called as the fiscal deficit. Now the fiscal deficit is 4.9% of GDP. What is our GDP? 326 lakh crore. Out of that 4.9% is the one which government is borrowing in this year, right. So this is the meaning of that. Fiscal deficit for 4.9% of GDP means the borrowings in that year out of the total GDP that we are producing. So it is just a 4.9%, right. I hope this is clear. Is this clear? So 4.9% is the borrowing that government is bringing out of the total GDP, right. It is 4.9%. Net out of this total revenue that government is getting, 32.07 lakh government is getting. Out of that 25.83 is a net tax. So it is coming through taxes, fine. So rest of whatever 7 lakh crores is there, that is on non-tax receipts or debt, that I mean non-debt receipts, that is by selling the Air India or government companies, right. So that is the total composition. Now the fiscal deficit is 4.9%, government is aiming to achieve 4.5% fiscal deficit by next year, right. So these numbers are very important. The current fiscal deficit is 4.9% out of total GDP, and next year government is aiming to 4%. Inflation, government says that it is under control. Government now target is 4% plus or minus 2. Inflation means rise in prices, right. So this government is aiming at in a correct manner. So it is saying that we are at the correct targeted level. So you can see the summary here. The total receipts of government is 32 lakh crore, right. So 32 lakh crore, and expenditure, this is receipts means revenue, one time money. Capital means that government has borrowing from somewhere else, right, or government, this capital receipts include the borrowings of the government plus whatever the government has got the money by selling it assets like Air India, right. So capital receipts means money received by government from borrowings plus the money that it got by selling it off its assets. So that is the capital receipts. Revenue receipts means tax, non-tax and all, right. So this is the revenue receipts, fine. So what is the current year? You can see this for the year 2024-25. This is the total revenue, you need to remember this number, right. So total revenue receipts is 31,29,200 crores, and the total capital receipts is 16,97,312, right, crores, and the expenditure, revenue expenditure is more, which is bad thing, 37 lakh crores, and capital expenditure is 11 lakh. So if you add these two, you will get the 48 lakh crore. Expenditure is total 48. Out of that, revenue itself is more, which is a bad thing. We should promote to expenditure more on one capital expenditure, right. So this numbers also, these 4 numbers you have to remember. Is this clear? Now budget at glance, we have already seen this. The total receipts of the government this year is 48. This is the budget. Yesterday we have discussed that there will be 3 sets of the budget figures. One is estimation for the coming year 2024-25. One is revised, right, revised estimates, and then when the budget was launching, what their estimates, and 2022-23 year actual budget. We got over with the 2022-23 financial year on March 31 itself. We got the final figures, right. You don't need to worry about this, just know about this year budget. The total expenditure or the total budget if asked is 48 lakh crores, 48.2 lakh crores is the total government expenditure. Out of that, you can see we have already seen this here in this figure. So again I am showing it. Revenue receipts is 31.29 lakh crores, capital receipts is 16.91 lakh crores. So if you add these two, you will get this, right. 48.2 lakh crores is the total. Now this is the receipts, total expenditure also it should be same, right. So this expenditure, out of this we are also having the loans like borrowings, this borrowings. Actually expenditure is clear, 48.2 lakh crores we are going to do, but our total revenue is revenue receipts is 31.2 lakh crores. Capital receipts includes the borrowings also. So we are including the borrowings in the capital receipts. So together if you add, it is nothing but the 48 lakh. So this will be equal, whatever government is spending, whatever government receiving should be equal. Of course, out of that receiving there is a borrowings which we need to pay back, which government need to pay back in the future. So this number are very important. Now comes the deficit. We have seen fiscal deficit. So if you reduce 48.2 lakh crore minus this two together, I mean what you call the total revenue of the government, capital revenue as well as revenue receipts, if you add you will get 32 lakh. Rest of the thing is the borrowings. You can see here 16.1 lakh crores government is borrowing. Let me explain simply here. So 48.2 lakh crores is the total government budget or expenditure. Out of this 31 lakh crore government got in a revenue and revenue expenditure, right, or revenue collection. Now rest of the 17 or 16 point something government need to borrow back, right. So this is what it signifies. Fine, you need to remember these figures. Next, deficit. Yeah, so fiscal deficit means whatever the borrowing in that particular year. You can see here the government is going to borrow 16.1 lakh crores. So same thing, borrowings, the same number will be here. This is borrowings, what government is borrowing, as they don't have budget. The same one is nothing but the fiscal deficit, right. Now revenue deficit means what the government is getting one time payment. Yesterday we have discussed what is revenue receipts and all. That's why you need to understand the basics. So revenue deficit means revenue expenditure or revenue that government is getting minus expenditure. So the deficit of total revenue is 5.8 lakh crore is the deficit, revenue deficit of the government. Next, effective revenue deficit means out of this revenue deficit, out of 5.8 lakh rupees the deficit, some funds are given to the states for their expenditure, that is considered as a like a capital one, like that will help in the future to grow the country. So if we reduce the out of this total receipts, revenue receipts, if we reduce the what money center has given to the states, we are getting the effective revenue deficit. This is the 1.89 lakh crore. And finally primary deficit. So out of this total fiscal deficit, the borrowings, how much government is paying to the interest. So from fiscal deficit, if you reduce the interest payments what government is paying the loans that they have taken, that is called as the primary deficit. So this number is also important. So these numbers you need to remember: fiscal deficit, revenue deficit, effective revenue deficit, and finally the interest or primary deficit, right. So these numbers you have to remember. These are the borrowings, like how much government is borrowing. Government is borrowing 16.1 lakh crores. We have seen the fiscal deficit or the borrowings, here the number. What government is borrowing, that is nothing but the fiscal deficit. So now they have given the composition from where government is getting. This is a very important slide. You need to know from where government is borrowing that extra money that is required. The most dominant one is market borrowings. That means government is releasing the bonds, giving in the market, and then they are signing that we will give in the future. You give us money now. So even you can buy the government securities. It is given through RBI. So this is the most dominant one. Out of the total 16.1 lakh crores that government is borrowing, government market borrowings is the highest one. Then short term borrowings, that is treasury bills. Treasury bills are like a government securities, but the money maturity period is less than 1 year. 91 days, 182 days, 364 days. There are 3 such treasury bills where government will buy the money from the market through treasury bills. Then security and savings, state provident fund, external debt, that means loans taken from other countries, that is very small, right. So this is the composition. So just check this slide in the PDF. Is this clear? Please do let me know. This is a very important one. Is this clear? Next one, about the deficits. We have seen the 4 deficits, that is fiscal deficit, revenue deficit, effective revenue deficit, primary deficit. So here in terms of percentage of GDP, this is fiscal deficit, right. Then red one is revenue deficit, that is 1.8% of GDP. Now effective revenue deficit is 1.4% of GDP, and finally the effective deficit is 0.6%, sorry, effective revenue deficit is 6% and 1.5% is primary deficit of 1.5% of GDP, right. So these numbers are also important. Is this clear? Moving to the last one, so we have 3-4 slides now, we will complete that, but understand these numbers are very very important. You need to remember what is fiscal deficit percentage, and then revenue deficit percentage, primary revenue deficit, and finally the effective revenue deficit. So these are the graphs, you can go through it, the numbers are very very important. Next one, trends in tax receipts. So how government is receiving the tax? Either two types are there, direct tax or indirect tax. We have already seen 6.8% is of 6.8% of the total GDP is direct tax and 5% is the indirect tax of GDP, right. We have seen this in the beginning itself. Then trend in net tax receipts of the government. So here net receipts of the center. So here central government what they are receiving. First one you can see tax receipts we have already seen here, the total is 11.8% of the total GDP is tax receipts, the money that government is getting from taxes. These are non-tax, net non-tax ones, right. Okay, here net tax is also given anyway. The total tax revenue that government is getting in terms of lakh crore is 25.8. This is the total tax receipts. Tax receipts is the highest one for the government, direct tax plus indirect tax. 25.8 lakh crores the government is getting from taxes, and 5.5% government is getting from non-tax revenue, that means fees or stamp duties, all those things comes under the non-tax. Non-debt capital receipts. What are these non-debt capital receipts? Anyone? Can anyone tell me what is we have discussed this non-debt capital receipts. What are those? Non-debt capital receipts means those money that central government has got by selling it off its assets, like Air India. We have discussed this previously. Whatever the government, whatever it has assets, it is selling it off to the private companies and they are getting the money. That is called as the non-debt capital receipt. It is not a debt, but it is money which is coming by selling it off assets, right. So this is just a 0.8 lakh crore. So remember these three are very very important. Through taxes government is getting 25.8 lakh crore, and through non-taxes 5.5 lakh crore, and through the selling it off its assets it is getting the 0.8 lakh crore. We have discussed this as well, right. Next, expenditure. The composition of expenditure, you can see here that central sector schemes, we have discussed this in a pie chart manner, but again it was given. Central sector schemes government is doing lot of thing, 15.16 lakh crore in terms of lakh crore. So this is where money is getting by the government, this is where government is giving money, right. So here central sector scheme 15.16 lakh crore, other central sector expenditure, that means there are many other central sector like devolution and all, it is 14.91 lakh crore, and then establishment expenditure of the center, so anything that they have established newly, so 7.84, then centrally sponsored schemes you can see here 5.89, other grants and loans to the other countries like Bhutan and many countries India gives loans, finally finance commission grants, right. So whatever finance commission has recommended to give money by the center to the panchayats or state governments, that is 1.32%. Now this is devolution of money by the center to the states, total transfer that central government is giving to the states and union territories, right. So this is in terms of lakh crores, it was consistently increasing. In 2019-20 they have given 11.45 lakh crore, then 13.20 lakh crore, 17.06 lakh crore, 18.65. So this year central government has given 23.49 lakh crores to the states, this they are going to give. So consistently what central government is giving money to the states, is increasing. This trend is also important, this number is also important for us, right. Last slide for now for today's budget session, composition of transfers to states and UTs. So in which way the central government is giving money to the states? Devolution, that means finance commission recommendation. Out of the total tax, say for example 100% tax is collected, 41% of the central government taxes are given to the states, right. So this is called as devolution. Out of the total money 23.49 lakh crores that is given to the states, 12.47 is through devolution, and then schemes and other transfers like whatever central sector, central sponsored, 9.49 lakh crore, and this finance commission grants. So it is special grants for some states like Andhra Pradesh for example is no capital, so finance commission recommended that extra grants has to be given. So this is a decreasing, right. So this is being decreasing. Finance commission grants are decreasing, but other schemes related and devolution related thing is increasing, right. So this is about the today's budget session. We had a very detailed discussion. If you understand this and if you study these details, you will be able to answer any type of question from the budget, right. So I promise that this will be really helpful, and the PDF is also attached, I guess. Okay, I will tell to the concerned team that the PDF will also be attached, right. Whatever we have discussed, you will get a PDF as well, right. Any doubts in today's session? This is of total budget. So just quickly revising, you have to remember that 4 themes and then 4 focused areas. You need to remember the 9 priority areas, each of what they have given, and then we have seen the numbers like how much government taxation, also you have to remember what tax reforms government has taken in direct taxes or net indirect taxes, and then government numbers in terms of expenditure, revenue, within revenue expenditure what is the major composition, about the borrowings, everything we have discussed in a very detailed manner. So you have to go through it, and the PDF will also be attached, right. I hope you have enjoyed the session, and trust me, this will be really helpful session. Everything government has released we have covered here, right, by combining all the documents. So this is all. Tomorrow we will meet with the current affairs session. I hope you have enjoyed. If else, please do share this video. This will be helpful to all the fellow aspirants, and do like and share our video as well. So thanks a lot for your patience. All the best for your whatever exam you write. So this is all for today. Have a great evening. Thank you.